have a great film coming in, Dark State, with director and writer Tracy. We have Constantine, we have Nicholas. How is everything going? Because I know this has been a long day of movie promotion.
Going great. Thanks for having us.
No problem. So please tell me, Tracy, a little bit about the film and what was the reason behind going into this and delving into this topic?
Well, I think that I'm just interested in the subject matter, and I love to read political thrillers. I love to watch them, and I'm interested in the age-old battle between good and evil, light versus dark, and I wanted to storytell about something that's relevant today and timely, and hopefully, Dark State does that.
It really does. And Constantine and Nicholas, how was it when you got the script? What was it about it that you had to be a part of this project?
Yeah, for me, they reached out, we hit it off. I think Tracy had someone like me in mind for the film. Sometimes I get to play these evil guys and sort of creepy, dangerous characters. I'm really a nice guy, I promise. But for me, definitely the dark and dangerous tones of it, the current subject matter, a great female lead character as well, getting to work with a talented female writer director, who utilized such a not only a great cast but a great crew, diverse crew. And I grew up in New Jersey. I was born in the city, but I grew up in New Jersey, and I know all about the creepy stories that come out of that magazine, Weird New Jersey, and certainly down where we filmed this near the Pine Barrens, and so many interesting sort of stories that have come out of that. So for me, it made a lot of sense. Schedule worked out, and we just had a great time making this movie for sure. And hats off to Tracy, who did this film in 13 days. So very cool.
Yeah. And Nicholas, what was it about the project that you wanted to jump on board?
It started for me with the character. I just saw a breakdown of a really interesting, complex, real person, as opposed to going out and trying to just execute one attribute. And thanks for coming. That's what this is going to be about. There was much more complexity. It started with the character, and then as I was able to move into the project and get introduced to the entire script and the plot line, and see that not shockingly, the complexity of the character carried over to the entire storyline. That was incredibly inviting, because I think that, as well, a lot of us and actors are looking for something with a little more complexity, a little more cognitive involvement, and I think it's fun. I'm a fan of film, and it's fun to go into something and not know where it's going, and be engaged, and be captivated and invested as you're trying to figure things out and how it's happening. And that was enormously alluring for me.
And Tracy, 13 days on production. That's a quick turnaround for a production. How were you able to keep it all together, keep it tight, keep it going, keep it rolling, and keep that emotion going in that film? Because you could see in the film, it's really it pulls you into the story. It pulls you into what's going on. So 13 days production, how was it putting that together in such a short time?
Well, first I want to say that I had a great producer, Michelle Gray, and we worked very well together. And a lot was done in pre-production and the pre-planning, a lot. It had to be that way because we had 13 days. Having said that, we had a great time. We shot every location was in my hometown of Hammonton, New Jersey. So it was a treat in that sense, because I worked with family, friends chipped in. It was all around a great experience. It was like having a family. But yeah, 13 days is a tight schedule. And I give a lot of credit to pre-production and my crew and the actors too. The majority of the actors, their background was in the theater. So they came prepared. Their lines were memorized. Yes, we rehearsed, but I have to give the actors just so much credit because they came prepared. And that means so much to a director and to a producer. Yes.
Definitely. And to be able to film in your own home area, you get to put in some nuances that maybe a lot of other filmmakers do not have about the area that they're actually working in. Was there any little things, little tidbits that maybe you were like little stories that related to the film that you wanted to put in and wanted to tell within the film?
Well, I don't know. We have Miss New Jersey, who was in the Miss America pageant. She actually comes from Hammonton, and she did a cameo in the film. Yeah, we talked about, obviously, the Hammonton Herald was based off of our local newspaper. We have our own newspaper here in Hammonton. So yeah, I think that the town itself was very much a part of the film. I mean, we mentioned Hamilton. Obviously, Rusty, the character Rusty, and Alicia both worked for the Hammonton Herald. The main protagonist, Katie, comes from Hamilton. So it's the town of Hamilton is a big part of this film.
So it's kind of and that's what I like about, always like when you get that nice little, no matter what the top subject matter is, it's having a nice little love letter to your community in which you grew up, which is always really amazing. And Constantine, you like to really delve into this dark role in this film, don't you? Because it seems like it gives you I don't know about dark characters always seem to be more, there's a lot more freedom than people who are really good and nice and trying to do good in this world. But when you're dark, it feels like you have the world at your oyster on how you could act and react to a character. So how was
For
it?
sure. It's a good time, man. It's fun. For me, I'm someone that's, had some success on the Broadway and with American Idol. People get to know you and all of that. I think it's always an opportunity that you relish when you get a chance to do something maybe a little bit different, and for me, I enjoy that kind of dangerous energy. It kind of reminded me of like being on stage with with like a heavy band or something like that. You kind of take on a character. We talked about in one of the other interviews, you have to be careful so as to not play it I don't know, too obvious, too evil or whatever, but you have like a sense of danger about it for sure. And I think it's well written, and it was just really a good time to be a part of the cast and the crew. Worked with some beautiful people there, and yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I'm mainly a nice guy, I think, but you just kind of just serve the text, serve the scene, and just play it out for sure.
Well, it's always like they always say, a good horror film is always written by probably the nicest guys who you ever meet, who you never thought would go to that level and go to that dark, creepy place. And everybody
Sure.
that I've ever met, I mean, that's the way it usually works out. Is like guys, you'll be like, "What the hell? It just doesn't. That just doesn't seem like you." And Nicholas, like you, I mean, you and Constantine have both done the stage. You've done TV. You've done everything. So when you come into a role like this, I mean, you're already prepared. You already know both of you guys know what you have to do. So what was it? What did you want to bring into your role into this film? What was some of the nuances?
Well, I think the fun thing for me about Rusty was the vulnerability, the humanity, maybe the antithesis of Adorno just being that this is a guy who tries to lead himself by the moral compass and do the right thing. And so he kind of gets swept up into all this because he's trying to be good at his job and do what he thinks he should do as a journalist. but he also gets into some murky territory because he's doing things because of personal feelings, and he'd be the first guy to say you shouldn't do that. And then, I mean, a few of us might understand what it's like to start going down a road that you shouldn't have because you're following a girl or something. And so that was the complexities to him that were really fun. As I've reflected on a lot today, exploring it, is the humanity of it. It's easy to say, oh, you're just go out there and try to play it tough. Go out there and, you're the, you try to be just charming, or this doesn't bother you, but that's not interesting and it's not real. And we see it a lot, and it's entertaining and it serves its purpose, but it's fun to actually embrace the challenge of trying to zone in on those vulnerabilities of a real person. And so that was really cool.
And Tracy, when you're making a story like this, because there's a lot of incidents, you hear a lot of stories around in real life of situations where you have like cult figures and cult things, because that's what I picked up on was like these cult figures and pulling in and these mind warp things, and what we're seeing today. Like, how hard is it to like not delve, like you try and keep it your own, but to not pick so many different stories, especially like with incidences that are happening, like with presidential things and things like that, because a lot of what you talk about in the film is reminded me very familiar of a lot of things that are going on right now. How hard was it to keep your story but not try to go too much into what's going on in real life?
Well, this was written pre-2016, pre-COVID. So yeah, I understand it. It seems like it could be ripped right from the headlines today. It's very timely and it's very relevant. But I started writing it and I researched and took notes. I would say maybe the latest 2017 was I pretty much had a lot of it, the majority of what I wanted to do, the story wrapped up. It's hard. There's just too much information out there to block, as a writer, to block yourself off completely from what's going on in the headlines. You just can't. And for my next film, anything will creep in. You don't know what will creep in and what won't. But no, the majority of this film was conceived and written before 2016.
And that's crazy because it's kind of like you had a foreshadowing of what was to come, which is scary. the idea that you kind of had a pulse already on what was happening is just nuts, which is going to make it very attractive to people and what we're seeing now in real life. I think a lot of people are going to be into this film.
Thank you.
Finally, when is it going to be released? How can people see it? And so what can you tell the Muse fans in order to get them to watch this film, because it's definitely something you need to watch.
Hey now.
Well, do you want me to go first, or
Tracy, you can
Sure,
go.
whichever.
Well, you'll be able to see the film this weekend. I'm sorry, you'll be able to see the film March 19th. And it's going to be opening up in about 7 or 8 markets right now, including New York City. So we do have a theatrical release. We're very, very lucky to have navigated that in the age of COVID. And we have it, and New York City theaters are beginning to open up, and it's so encouraging. After that, it will be on VOD, and I believe the date is May 4th. It will be on VOD. We'll be able to see it. So
very cool. Constantine, Nicholas, what can you add to that to get people to watch?
No, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, you make movies and these projects, you never know if someone's going to get a chance to see it. And certainly, a year ago, it's been since we've been in this crazy time in our lives, something, like we'll probably never experience anything like this ever again. And, lucky enough, Nicholas and I put a couple of projects in the can before the pandemic kicked in. It's so nice that, boom, a year later, we're able to talk about a project that is going to have a theatrical release that people will be able to see on demand. I think that it speaks to what's happening in the world right now. You have an excellent ensemble of actors maybe you haven't seen in every single project that you watch or everything that you watch, a lot of new faces. I think the fact that, we're led by Tracy, a writer, director, and I think the film has a great female empowerment, tone to it as well, and it's just nice to be a part of something like this. There's a couple of things I have that are on VOD right now, which is, it's just kind of fun. Oh, that guy, you get to see us from the comfort of your own home. And I'm excited that movie theaters are opening. I hope that we can do it safely, and it's the beginning of things to start to turn for all of us. Me as like a recording artist and a performer, I want to be out there playing shows. I want to promote my new album. I want to promote this film and other ones. But I want us all to be safe. So let's be smart. Let's try to love each other, try to take care of each other. Let's get vaccinated. And, perhaps by this time next year, even though that seems an insane, long time from now, maybe we can just kind of have forgotten about the last year and a half, 2 years before. We can go to theaters safely, go back to Broadway, go to shows, and make more movies with Tracy.
Exactly. And Nicholas, what do you think about, what can you tell the Muse audience? Also, what are you working on?
I would tell the Muse audience, if you want to go see something unique, that's complex and will keep you kind of on the edge of your seat trying to figure some things out, and has some very cool storylines with a lot of complexity and different kind of characters, this is the thing for you. If you like thrillers, if you like psychological stuff, this is for you. So check it out. It's one of a kind and be worth your time. For me, I just wrapped up a couple other films that'll be coming out down the line, and I'm currently working on there's a new Law and Order Organized Crime, it's called, new Law and Order spinoff that I'm in the middle of shooting right now. So this is actually wedged in a break in between costume fittings and shooting, and so you can check that out this spring on NBC as well.
Awesome.
I can't wait for that. I'm like the biggest, obviously we all get to be on Law and Order and such, but I'm actually a fan of the show, and I'm so excited for that. So I'm excited for you, dude. Remember Law and Order Los Angeles? It was short-lived. Did you ever see that with Skeet Ulrich was like the lead?
Yep.
Yeah, they did only like 6 episodes and it was over. I actually thought it was really, it was over. And it's like, and stop. But it was really cool because, bringing that like noir kind of element with an LA backdrop, I thought was really cool. It just didn't work, but this is really cool. And, bringing Elliot back, right? Isn't he the lead? Yeah. So that character is just the best. And it's focused on like some gangster shit, right? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's more of a limited series kind of feel with Dylan McDermott and playing the other side of it. And yeah, it's been fun to be a part of.
Awesome.
Great. But hey, everybody, thank you so much for stopping with us. I really appreciate it. I really wish we would have had all movie theaters open, because I think this would play well in movie theaters.
Thank you.
Because there's just something about going into seeing a movie like this in a movie theater that just gives it a little different to it.
Sure.
I wish we could have all been in movie theaters, but hopefully soon we'll be back, and we'll be able to hopefully you'll be able to get a larger run into movie theaters, especially here in LA, because we're still closed down when it comes to movie theaters. So I'm hoping that we get to see it in a movie theater here in LA. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
And we look forward to seeing everybody next time here on Muse TV. See you soon.
Thanks.